Did you know that some boxing matches have ended not just in knockouts, but in permanent injuries, comas, and even death? While boxing is known for its power and glory, it's also a sport where one punch can change everything. In this video, we uncover the scariest injuries in boxing history, where fighters paid the ultimate price inside the ring. 1. Mike Tyson. The battle between Mike Tyson and Holyfield takes first place among the most harmful boxing injuries throughout history. The rematch between Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield brought together two heavyweights of boxing fame for a highly anticipated bout. Holyfield seized the WBA heavyweight championship after delivering a stunning TKO victory to Tyson in their first fight's 11th round of November 1996. The MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas served as the venue for this fight. The fight between the two competitors displayed the same intense level of competition that characterized their initial match. Holyfield used his boxing skills and clinch moves to annoy Tyson, while the boxer struggled to perform. During the third round, Tyson attacked Holyfield by biting his ear and ripping off a portion of the ear. Mills Lane interrupted the fight twice because Tyson spat out cartilage after receiving 2 points for his offense. The battle resumed 1 minute after Tyson bit Holyfield's remaining ear, leading to another stoppage which ended the fight. Holyfield received the win by disqualification, while Tyson got disqualified. The boxing world witnessed a stunning biting incident, which led to numerous legal issues and professional penalties for Mike Tyson. He received a $3 million fine, together with a temporary suspension of his boxing license. The incident harmed Tyson's reputation by sparking more controversy about his ring conduct, as well as his actions outside of boxing. The Holyfield-Tyson rematch became one of boxing's most famous moments because of Tyson's bizarre, unsportsmanlike conduct along with the actual fight competition. Since their fight, both fighters have put aside their differences to show mutual respect for one another. The infamous bout remains the most important stage of their careers despite Mike Tyson's return to boxing and Evander Holyfield's continuation in his career. 2. Nick Blackwell. The boxing match between Chris Eubank Jr. and Nick Blackwell on March 26, 2016 became significant because Nick Blackwell suffered severe injuries. Here is a quick synopsis. Eubank Jr. and Blackwell gave their best to the intense and highly competitive fight. During the fight, Eubank Jr. showcased his power together with his boxing abilities, while Blackwell showed impressive fighting spirit. Eubank Jr. intensified his head attacks against Blackwell throughout the rounds, especially after the 7th round. During the fight, Blackwell suffered severe head and facial injuries which resulted in major punishment. The swelling of his left eye became severe in the last rounds, which severely limited his vision while appearing to be one of the worst boxing injuries ever recorded. Blackwell fought on, despite the increasing damage he suffered. The ringside physician advised Victor Laughlin to stop the match in the 10th round. The swelling in Blackwell's eye had reached closure, and it was evident he could no longer defend himself. Chris Eubank Jr. earned a 10th round technical knockout victory, TKO. Nick Blackwell received a brain bleed as a result of the fight. Doctors performed surgery to reduce head pressure and placed him in a coma to reduce swelling. Blackwell survived the incident, yet it marked his last fight because the injuries ended his boxing career. The match brought attention to fighter safety risks in boxing and its associated dangers. The fight generated conversations about official and referee and corner team responsibilities to safeguard fighter well-being during competition. After their fight, Chris Eubank Jr. and Nick Blackwell demonstrated their mutual respect and concern for one another. Blackwell received high praise from Eubank Jr. for his fighting spirit. The incident stands as one of the worst boxing injuries in history, while demonstrating the need for medical supervision in the sport to protect fighters from harm. 3. Lennox Lewis. The highly anticipated heavyweight boxing match between Lennox Lewis and Vitaly Klitschko stands as one of the sport's most remarkable clashes. This article reviews their monumental confrontation. The battle between Vitaly Klitschko and Lennox Lewis took place at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, California on June 21, 2003. Lennox Lewis held the WBC and IBF heavyweight titles at that time, while Vitaly Klitschko emerged as his challenging Ukrainian opponent. The fight consisted of 12 scheduled rounds. From the opening bell, it became clear that this match would be brutal and full of powerful hits. Vitaly Klitschko started the fight aggressively with his signature height and reach and powerful jabs and right hands that pushed Lewis back. During the opening rounds, Vitaly Klitschko maintained control of the fight while creating a serious cut above Lewis's left eye and continuing to hit him. Lennox Lewis found his pace throughout the fight while connecting with significant attacks. The fight became more competitive as both competitors displayed outstanding determination and fighting spirit. The fight ended when referee Lou Moret stopped the bout in the 6th round because of the severe cut above Lennox Lewis's left eye. At the time of the stoppage, Vitaly Klitschko was ahead on the scorecards, while many spectators and fans thought the fight was reaching its peak and should have continued. The fight's result remained uncertain because of the disputed stoppage. The cut resulted in Lennox Lewis being declared the technical knockout (TKO) winner, which allowed him to defend his heavyweight titles from the WBC and IBF. The warriors showed mutual respect for each other's abilities and strength after fighting. The match allowed boxing fans to visualize what would have happened if the fight had continued. After his strong performance in the bout, Vitaly went on to achieve great success in boxing until he claimed the WBC heavyweight title. Boxing fans continue to view the Lewis vs. Klitschko fight as the ultimate demonstration of the sport's thrilling combination of unexpected rulings and outstanding skill and drama. 4. Samuel Peter. The two fighters rematched, and Vladimir Klitschko dominated the battle. This is a synopsis of the battle. The first fight in 2005 was a wild one. Peter knocked Vladimir down 3 times, but Klitschko still won via unanimous decision, showing his heart and stamina. The 2010 rematch was Vladimir's chance to silence critics and show how much he had improved under trainer Emanuel Steward. Throughout the bout, Vladimir Klitschko displayed a clinical and commanding performance. He controlled the distance and held Samuel Peter at bay with his better reach, boxing prowess, and jab. Klitschko consistently avoided Peter's attacks and delivered crisp blows and combinations. Klitschko's jab was the star of the show. He used it like a spear to keep Peter at a distance. Peter tried to come forward, but he was frustrated, shut down, and visibly exhausted by Klitschko's constant movement and punches. Vladimir used his trademark 1-2 combinations and long-range tactics, rarely letting Peter land cleanly. Samuel Peter was knocked down by Klitschko's barrage of strong blows in the 10th round. Peter was able to stand up, but the fight ended when his corner chose to give up. Vladimir Klitschko successfully defended his heavyweight titles and was proclaimed the winner via TKO. This triumph demonstrated Klitschko's technical skill and cemented his status as one of the most dominant heavyweights of his time. Given how one-sided the battle was, Samuel Peter's corner's decision to call off the fight was viewed as a logical one. It's important to remember that Vladimir was one of the most dominant heavyweights in modern boxing history at the time of this bout. This victory solidified Klitschko's reign as the heavyweight king. He went on to hold the titles until 2015, becoming one of the longest reigning champions in boxing history. Peter's career declined afterward. He never regained top-tier contender status. 5. Duk Koo Kim. A tragic event that shaped boxing history took place during the 1982 fight between Ray Boom Boom Mancini and Duk Koo Kim. This essay discusses the details of that historical fight. Ray Boom Boom Mancini gained fame through his energetic personality, together with his exciting fighting techniques as an American lightweight boxer. The South Korean boxer Duk Koo Kim came to the United States to secure the World Championship title. Both competitors met at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas for their WBA lightweight belt world title match on November 13, 1982. The boxing event took place at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas, Nevada. The fighters gave their best from the beginning as they delivered forceful strikes throughout the entire match. The famous pressure fighter Ray Mancini attacked Kim's midsection throughout the fight to gradually drain his strength. Mancini attacked Kim strongly in the 14th round, which caused severe damage to the boxer. Kim collapsed to the ground during a tragic moment while unable to fight further. The referee stopped the match, and Ray Mancini received the victory by technical knockout, TKO. During the fight, Kim suffered a severe brain injury from the confrontation. Following emergency brain surgery, Kim stayed unconscious until his death on November 17, 1982, which occurred 4 days after the fight. The boxing world went through major changes following Duke Koo Kim's death. The fight led to widespread discussions about the high dangers involved in boxing, together with the need for improved fighter protection. The boxing tragedy transformed Ray Mancini into an advocate for improved fighter safety measures in the sport. The fight, together with its aftermath, shows how dangerous fighting can be for athletes, which led the boxing community to prioritize fighter protection. 6. McClellan. One of the most terrifying bouts in boxing history took place in London on February 25, 1995, when Gerald McClellan and Nigel Benn squared off. It was anticipated that McClellan, a deadly American puncher with a strong record, would win this fight by knockout. Rather, it became a tragic event that changed people's lives. From the first bell, the match was violent. In the opening round, McClellan knocked Benn out of the ring, but the British boxer got back in and fought with unrelenting vigor. The toll started to appear as the rounds continued. Despite his obvious injuries, McClellan continued to move ahead. He began blinking a lot, which is a sign of concern. And in the 10th round, he even took 2 voluntary knees, which is highly unusual for a boxer who is known for his strength and durability. In the 10th, McClellan went to his corner, sat down, and then passed out after the referee broke up the bout. After being taken to the hospital, doctors discovered a large blood clot in his brain. His life was saved by emergency surgery, but the damage was irreparable. McClellan was rendered wheelchair-bound, blind, and partially deaf. Additionally, he experienced memory loss and now needs 24-hour care. The fallout was devastating. Once a world champion, McClellan was unable to support himself. Lisa McClellan, his sister, took on the role of full-time caregiver for him. Nigel Benn and the boxing community came together to raise money for his medical expenses. Years later, Benn himself visited McClellan and expressed his profound regret. The topic of boxing safety, officials' roles, and medical supervision during bouts was brought up again by this fight. In addition to its fierceness, it is remembered for the terrible toll it took on a once great warrior who paid the ultimate price for his fighting spirit. 7. Magomed Abdusalamov. On November 2, 2013, Mike Perez, a strong Cuban boxer, went off against Magomed Abdusalamov, an unbeaten Russian heavyweight famed for his hitting strength, at Madison Square Garden in New York. One of the most catastrophic incidents in contemporary boxing occurred from what was supposed to be a thrilling and competitive battle. Over the course of 10 rounds, both men exchanged powerful strikes in a physically demanding battle. Although Perez prevailed by unanimous vote, Abdusalamov suffered considerably more serious injuries than anyone could have predicted. Abdusalamov sustained multiple clean strikes to the head and face throughout the battle. He suffered a broken hand, a shattered cheekbone, and, most importantly, a blood clot in his brain. Despite his obvious injuries and swollen face, neither the ringside authorities nor the medical personnel intervened significantly during the battle. After a series of procedural blunders, Abdusalamov started throwing up after the fight and was eventually driven to the hospital in a cab rather than by ambulance. After arriving at the hospital, he was put into a medically induced coma and had emergency brain surgery to remove a blood clot. Unfortunately, while undergoing surgery, he had a major stroke that permanently damaged his brain. The consequences were disastrous. Abdusalamov ended up confined to a wheelchair, partially paralyzed, and unable to talk clearly. Never again would he walk or fight. After his wife and 3 kids took on the role of full-time caregivers, his family filed a negligence lawsuit against the New York State Athletic Commission, which led to a $22 million settlement. Due to Abdusalamov's injuries, boxing safety procedures, such as ringside medical supervision and post-fight treatment, have been re-examined. 8. Benny Parrott. One of the most disturbing battles took place between Benny "Kid" Parrott and Emil Griffith at Madison Square Garden on the 24th of March, 1962. The welterweights were to fight each other for the third time. They had each taken one win from each other. However, this last fight ended in a nightmare and changed the sport forever. The competition had become personal. According to some sources, Parrott offended Griffith during the weigh-in by calling him a derogatory word associated with his sexual orientation, which was also considered an insult in the 1960s. But despite that, Griffith did not lose his temper until the start of the fight. The battle was exhausting. Despite the fact that each of the fighters had their moments of victory, the 12th round of the battle will be remembered for Griffith's powerful attack. He kept Parrott in the corner and struck him with more than 20 clean, effective, and powerful punches in the head. Ruby Goldstein, the referee, was reluctant to stop the fight, perhaps fearing that Parrott was protecting himself. That hesitancy was deadly. Between the ropes, Parrott fell off his stool and never got up. Following a severe brain hemorrhage, he was rushed to the hospital and operated on, but the damage was too much. 10 days later, at the age of 25, he died. Shocks were sent through the sporting fraternity. A man was knocked out cold in the course of a fight, and the ABC had broadcast it live. Following a public outcry, live boxing matches were not broadcast on TV for many years. Nonetheless, he was affected. He stated that he never really got over it. The incident bothered him all his life. Following this tragedy, boxing reform demands such as stronger rules, better ringside medical care, and prompt referee intervention emerged. Boxing safety was revolutionized after Parrott's death, and the world learned that uncontrolled aggression in the ring can have devastating consequences. 9. Prichard Colon. Prichard Cullen, a young Puerto Rican boxer, fought Terrell Williams in a 10-round welterweight bout in Virginia's Eagle Bank Arena on the 17th of October 2015. At the time, Colon had a 16-0 record and was a good prospect with Olympic experience and charisma. However, this bout was to be his last bout and the start of a very difficult fight. Since the first round, Colon has been hit in the back of the head several times by rabbit punches that are illegal. No points were taken away, and the risky punches continued despite several fouls and Colon's protests to the referee. When he returned to the locker room, Colon started complaining of dizziness, vomiting, and headaches. Then he fell down and was taken to the nearest hospital. The CT scan revealed a large brain hemorrhage, and Colon was rushed to surgery to try to ease the pressure on the brain. He fell into a coma and remained unconscious for many months. The aftermath was devastating. Colon was in a coma for 221 days and was later on classified to be in a persistent vegetative state. His future, which was once so bright, was now reduced to constant care. His mother, Nieves Colon, became his primary caregiver, and the boxing world watched in horror and sadness as updates on his condition were shared. Even though Colon has made some little gains, such as making some sounds and responding to his family members, he is still unable to move, speak, or even feed himself. The incident brought to the 4 issues of referees' accountability, fight regulations, and post-fight medical care. The case of Prichard Colon is one of the worst that shows how failed safety measures can be in boxing. He is now looked at as a sad figure in the sport, and his case is often brought up when discussing head injuries and the consequences of illegal punches in boxing. 1-0. Michael Watson. British boxer Michael Watson against Chris Eubank in a rematch at White Hart Lane in London on September 21, 1991. The fight took place for the WBO super middleweight title, which Eubank had not claimed before Watson lost to him in July 1991. Watson was determined to set the record straight in this rematch, yet the battle would permanently ruin his life. Watson performed exceptionally well during the opening rounds. The fight entered its 11th round, with Watson leading all judges' scorecards, while he delivered a powerful right hand that dropped Eubank to the ground. Eubank suddenly stood up to deliver a devastating uppercut that caused severe injury to Watson's head, and then punched him in the rear of the head. The fight concluded, but a devastating tragedy emerged in its aftermath. Watson remained unconscious in the ring for multiple minutes because medical help did not reach him promptly. A half hour passed before Watson reached the hospital, and neither an ambulance nor paramedic team was present at the scene. During that essential period, his brain showed major swelling. A coma lasted for 40 days, and he needed 6 brain surgeries. His medical condition left him partially paralyzed while also rendering him unable to walk or speak when he finally regained consciousness. The road to recovery for Watson lasted for many long and painful years. Watson has managed to regain his walking ability and speaking skills, although his condition persists. Watson completed the London Marathon while using a frame in 6 days during 2003 to show his remarkable determination. He brought a successful lawsuit against the British Boxing Board of Control, BBOC, because of their failure to provide medical staff at ringside, which led to the establishment of new safety standards in boxing. Through his unbelievable strength and unthinkably tragic injuries, Michael Watson became the driving force behind essential reforms in British boxing. 1-1. Levander Johnson. Levander Johnson fought for the lightweight title of the IBF against Jesus Chavez at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas on September 17, 2005. A fight that could have been a thrilling contest between two very good fighters turned into a tragedy when Johnson died. Johnson was attacked from the very beginning. The fight was marked by Chavez, who is well known for his strong and loud punches, who set a relentless pace and landed clean, unanswered shots. In the later rounds, Johnson was showing signs of exhaustion and distress, yet he showed his courage and heart and was able to take the punishment and fight back. A flurry of punches left Johnson helpless against the ropes in the 11th round, and the referee stopped the bout as Johnson's corner did not throw in the towel. Despite walking to the dressing room on his own, Johnson collapsed immediately after. He underwent emergency surgery for subdural hematoma, brain hemorrhage, after being rushed to the hospital. No matter how hard the medical staff tried, the damage was too great. He died 5 days in a coma on September 22, 2005, at the age of 35. The boxing community was stunned by the death of Levander Johnson. He had just won the World Championship in June of that year after years of fighting his way to the top. His fans and family members petitioned for better protection for fighters in the wake of the incident. The debate was whether the fight should have been stopped earlier or if more could have been done in between rounds, although the Nevada State Athletic Commission had attempted to review ringside medical procedures. 1-2. Maxim Dadashev. The fight between Maxim Dadashev, an unbeaten Russian junior welterweight contender, and Subriel Matias, a tough Puerto Rican fighter known for his rugged tactics, took place on July 19, 2019, at the MGM National Harbor in Maryland, and the boxing world witnessed a tragedy. The scheduled IBF title eliminator was a fight to watch for both competitors, but it had consequences that were felt beyond the ring. From the first bell, Matias was all over Dadashev, hitting him and slowly taking him down round after round. Dadashev, known for his skill and endurance, tried to fight back and counter, but it was clear that he was taking more punishment than he was giving. Dadashev did not give up through the penalties. It was in the 11th round that his trainer, Buddy McGirt, made the courageous but painful decision to stop the fight. McGirt knew that Dadashev was fading and told the referee, "That's it. I'm going to stop it, Max." Dadashev, barely able to move his head, nodded in understanding. It was a timely intervention, but, unfortunately, the damage had already been done. As Dadashev made his way out of the ring, he fell and started vomiting, showing clear signs of serious brain damage. He was rushed to the hospital where he was operated on to relieve pressure from a large brain hemorrhage. He was put on life support in a medically induced coma, but he did not get better. Just 4 days later, on July 23, 2019, Maxim Dadashev died at 28. The boxing world was in shock. Dadashev was a young man with a bright future. He was smart, he was disciplined, and he was liked by everyone, including trainers and fellow boxers. His death brought up many issues, including the need for earlier stoppages and better medical attention before, during, and after fights. The widow Elizaveta Apushkina inherited the responsibility of caring for their young son after his passing. The boxing community collected funds for his family while remembering Dadashev as a brave fighter who showed great promise in the sport. Boxing shows us through his story that courage in the sport often requires athletes to pay with their lives. 1-3. Jimmy Garcia, a Las Vegas boxing match on May 6, 1995, created an everlasting mark of suffering within the sports world. Colombian featherweight Jimmy Garcia entered the ring to fight Gabriel Ruelas, who defended his WBC super featherweight title. The fight began as a regular title defense event before evolving into a tragic incident. The 23-year-old Garcia showed promising skills and bravery while maintaining a 35-1 fighting record. The match subjected him to continuous harmful attacks. The WBC super featherweight champion, Ruelas, delivered powerful and clean strikes during his aggressive performance to claim control of the fight. Garcia demonstrated great fighting spirit by refusing to surrender despite being severely tired throughout the match. Garcia suffered additional unreturned strikes before the referee ended the fight during the 11th round. Ruelas won the fight by TKO after Garcia seemed physically fine at first, but then collapsed in his corner. Medical personnel rushed him to the hospital shortly after his corner collapsed. Medical tests revealed that Garcia suffered from a significant brain hemorrhage. Emergency surgical procedures did not succeed because the injuries exceeded recovery capabilities. The world lost Jimmy Garcia due to his fight injuries on May 8, 1995, when he died 2 days after the fight. The boxing community was taken aback. The boxing community learned that Gabriel Ruelas suffered an emotional breakdown due to the tragic outcome of the fight. As a mild-mannered man, Ruelas experienced long-lasting guilt after the fight. The fighter admitted he thought about quitting boxing after the fight, and when he continued competing, he lost his aggressive punching style. The fighter declared that he lost part of himself during that tragic evening. The passing of Jimmy Garcia stands as one of boxing's most sorrowful moments. The bout revealed the catastrophic risks boxers face every time they fight, and the profound emotional impact their bravery creates between competitors and throughout the entire sport. 1-4. Randy Carver. This boxer stepped into the ring on September 21, 1999, to face Egyptian boxer Kabari Salem, an unyielding fighter famous for his dangerous fighting tactics, which included headbutts. Wasn't very late until what should have been a routine fight became one of the deadliest and most horrific events. From the very start, Salem employed aggressive and unclean fighting tactics. Headbutts from Carver continuously hit his face because they seemed accidental, yet possibly on purpose. The referee failed to take control of the fight despite hearing multiple warnings. Carver received endless punishment, yet he maintained his reputation as a strong and determined fighter. During the 10th round, Carver fell to the ring floor as multiple unpenalized fouls and continuous hits had taken their toll. Medical professionals diagnosed him with a traumatic brain injury at the hospital after his admission. The young fighter lost his life in a coma on September 23, 1999, when he was only 24 years old. The reaction which followed was pure scandal. Numerous individuals from the boxing world faulted both the referee and commission for failing to give Salem sufficient penalties or end the fight earlier. Carver's fatal accident made officials and rule enforcers focus on improving their actions and implementing better protections for fighters who experience foul play. Throughout his career, he demonstrated both impressive skills and great promise, which was never fulfilled. 1-5. Becky Zerlentes. In the final part of this video, Becky Zerlentes, a PhD professor, triathlete, martial artist, and one of the few women who dared to enter the boxing ring, made history on April 2, 2005, but for the most unfortunate reason. She was the first female boxer in American history to die from injuries sustained in a sanctioned bout. Zerlentes was fighting Heather Schmitz in a regular amateur bout at the Colorado State Golden Gloves tournament. Schmitz threw a straight punch to the head in the 3rd round. Zerlentes fell out cold and never regained consciousness. She was rushed to the hospital but died from a blunt force trauma to the head, a rare and unfortunate occurrence in amateur boxing, where boxers wear headgear and matches are shorter. What made her death even more tragic was who she was outside the ring. A well-known college professor, a trailblazer for women in combat sports, and a woman who was driven by self-discipline and empowerment, not fame. She wasn't fighting for a title, she was fighting for herself. Her legacy lives on not only in tragedy, but in the courage it takes to fight, both in and out of the ring.